I don't think Kyrie's still a good enough number 2 on a championship team. I was thinking about it, Slick, and you challenged me more than anybody to do my basketball homework. I love having played in the NFL because high key, then you got to study more as it pertains to basketball. Basketball was probably my second true love to track and field, football being my third love, but you got to go back and study. When I prepared to do a basketball show, to do a daily show, I had to really study. I had to go back and watch the docs. I had to go back and watch the tapes, somewhere in black and white. I really had to do my homework. I didn't just lean back on, oh, I know this because I played NBA Live in 03 with J. Kidd on the cover. No. I really had to do my homework. Shady, in doing my homework, I realized over the last 10 years or so, the number 2s on championship teams, they're either really good two-way players or they can give you 40 on a moment's notice in a dub. I think about Andrew Wiggins, really good two-way player. I think about Pascal Siakam, good two-way player. I think about Anthony Davis, really good two-way player. I think about a dude like Jamal Murray. We'll focus on him because he was the number 2 on last year's championship team. Y'all do realize that Jamal Murray, the second best player for the Denver Nuggets, severely outplayed Jaylen Brown as it pertains to offensive output, and you could argue in totality output, and he was the second best player on that team, 21, 6, and 10. And I believe it was 50, 40, and 90 shooting. Meanwhile, Jaylen Brown had 25 and 5 on what I believe was 40, 20, and 70 shooting. So that was what a number 2 on a championship team currently looks like. The man to your left, he's either the number 2 or the number 1. That's what number 2s on championship teams currently look like. We have to update our modems, update our mindsets, update our mantras. Kyrie Irving is an incredible player offensively, at least he was. Obviously, incredibly is what he can do with the ball in his hands. But, Shady, when I think about it, he's not an elite two-way player, not like Andrew Wiggins, not like Anthony Davis. Obviously, Pascal Siakam just got a bag today. Shout out to him. So he's not an elite two-way player, and he can no longer give you that walking 40-point game that we all think he can. Chris Middleton, game 4, dropped 40. Giannis only had 24, helped the Bucks even up the series 2-2. The Bucks would go on to win the series 4-2. That's what number 2s do these days, family. They put the team on their back when the number 1 ain't there to do it, and we haven't seen Kyrie do it in 7 years now. So I no longer know that he's still good enough. He was good enough. I don't know if he's still good enough.
I disagree with that. Right? And even the guys that you just showed on the diagram here, like, other than Anthony Davis and maybe Brown, you tell me you would take them dudes over Kyrie Irving? You think Chris Middleton over Kyrie Irving?
Are you saying Jaylen Brown?
Jaylen Brown.
Did you just name Jaylen Brown as the number 2? I just want to make sure I got my scorecard correct.
What I'm saying is, with Acho showed the diagram of all the number 2 players and his opinion. So what I'm saying is, Brown, who's up?
Murray was up there. Middleton was up there. AD was up there. Wiggs was up there.
All these other guys, though, right? My Warriors, you telling me Andrew Wiggins you would take before you take Kyrie Irving?
2022 Wiggins, yes, sir. You remember
Jamal Murray? You tell me if you take Jamal Murray off the Nuggets, you put Kyrie Irving there, you don't think they have a better team?
Jamal Murray beat the Los Angeles Lakers.
I'm asking you a question.
I would take Andrew Wiggins, I would take Anthony Davis, and I would take Jamal Murray the last 2 years over Kyrie Irving.
Okay, that's your opinion. I'll just say this, man. I totally disagree with everything you're saying. We got to understand that, Kyrie Irving and Luka, we were just arguing whether they're one of the best backcourts of history in basketball, right? That happened for a reason. A lot of it is Luka and a lot of it is Kyrie. These guys just went to the finals. That did just happen.
It did.
I will say this. I think as I watch more tape on the games from game 1 all the way down to the last one, is that we got to give more credit to Boston for the defense, right? Because they pushed Luka just as well as they pushed Kyrie. Kyrie did not have a good series. He did not. But when you go and get all defensive players like Drew Holiday, that matters, right? Derek White, that happens. Then JB, the way he plays, that happens. So all these different matchups, I got to give them more credit for what they did. I think we're not giving Boston enough credit for how the defense they played. So that's one part of it. And the second part is, if you take this series away, the other series that Kyrie Irving was playing in, I mean, he almost averaged 50% from the field. Is that good or is that, what is that? So as much as you're trying to tell me that Kyrie Irving is not good enough as a number 2 to win a championship is crazy. He took the freaking Dallas Mavericks to the finals. Like, that did happen.
It did. It did. If we're going to give the Celtics credit for defense, which I think we should, then we have to. Then we got to start giving more credit to defense. Because Kyrie Irving is not an elite defensive player. He borderlines being a good defensive player this year for the first time in his career, and he said he was watching the playoffs last year when he got sent home, and he realized he had to play better defense. So if we got to give credit to defense, then let's not just do it on a macro level, let's do it on a micro level too.
But this is crazy to me because you letting one series change the whole view of Kyrie Irving in your eyes. That's what you're doing. No, it's yes, sir, because you took Kyrie Irving and Luka in the best duo matchup.
I did.
And you took that for a reason because you have watched with your eyes of what Kyrie Irving has been doing in the playoffs. 7 30-point games, had a 40-point game. Him and Luka this season, the second highest in the history of the game, averaging 60 points together as a backcourt duo. That's why we took them. So we can't sit here and let one series, and yes, Kyrie Irving and Luka both did not shoot the ball well. And yes, they had some wide open. Yes, it was some good defense on both. But we cannot let one series change the way we view Kyrie Irving after all the special stuff that he has done this season, especially in the postseason. Luka and Kyrie Irving were the best duo scoring-wise in the postseason, including JB, including Tatum, including Murray, including all these dudes. They was the best.
Can I ask my question? See, James, the reason I get in so much trouble, along with other reasons, in society, the reason I get in so much trouble in society with everybody, I'm sure y'all hate me at times. Honestly, I don't like me all the time, is because I'm fair. I'm honest. We can't let one series change our opinion of Kyrie. We did in 2016. The shot, that one series, family, it's changed our opinion of Kyrie forever. 2015, he was hurt. 2017, they got beat down 4-1. I went to the game in Cleveland. 2018, he left. He went to Boston. Boston, the year before, had gone to the conference finals. He goes up to Boston, and he gets hurt. Boston goes to the conference finals. He plays. They lose in the semis. He leaves. They go back to the conference finals. He goes to Brooklyn. He gets swept by Boston. One series has already changed our opinion of Kai. So, James Jones, if you're going to tell me I can't let one series change my opinion of Kai, I'll say fair. But then you can't either. You can't let that 2016 series change your opinion. So let's take out this finals appearance. Let's take out that finals appearance. And then who's Kyrie Irving?
See, for me, I'm not worried about one series, whether he won, whether he balled, whether he didn't ball, whether he lost. I'm looking at Kyrie Irving. Since Kyrie Irving has walked into the NBA, he's been one of the baddest men on the planet. He was one of the baddest men on the Cleveland Cavaliers when they won it and when they went back to it and lost. And he was one of the baddest men in the world this year on the Dallas Mavericks. So we can't let the way he played in this finals, because you was just on this team too with me a week ago. You know what I'm saying? So all I'm saying is Kyrie had a heck of a postseason.
Did he? He had 2 good series, 2 bad series. Don't forget the Thunder series, fam. James, stop being biased, sir. He had 8 games under 30 point, in the teens. He had 7 games in the 30s. Kyrie Irving was more likely to score in the teens in the postseason than he was to score 30 or more. You can't be biased, big dog.
Kyrie Irving has 7 30-plus point games.
And he had 8 in the teens. There was more likely to score in the teens than he was to score 30. That's just a fact.
I just feel like I feel like we're having a number one argument right now. If you are looking at this man's numbers with what he did and he's the Robin, what are we talking about? A man had 7+ 30-point games and a 40-pointer as the Rodman. That's what we say, right? We say Luka's the best. We saying a number 2 player. I think you trying to view Kyrie as the number 1 option.
That's fair.
A number 2 option with what Kyrie has shown this postseason and this season. Anybody will take that as a number 2 option on your basketball team.
I don't think the Celtics would, Rick Bucher. I don't think the Celtics would.
You make a very compelling point.
I tried.
And Shady and James, you do as well. But let me ask you this: if Kyrie had been a better 2, do they win this championship?
No, they push it. No, they push it to 7.
Yeah.
To 6.
Push it
To 6.
At least 6.
That boy trying to get to 7.
I was to 6, but
6 is a lot. We know they push it to 6.
That for me is the issue here, is that it's hard for me to look at Kyrie as the number 2 and say, if only he were a legitimate number 2, then everything would be different, because the number 1 wasn't good enough as a number 1.
Thank you.
And the number 3, I don't even know who you have as a candidate for that. When it was coming up, it was P.J. Washington looking like that against Minnesota, right?
Yep.
He got exposed in the finals. So as I look at it, and it's the same with when I look at the Milwaukee Bucks. Like Chris Middleton, as good as he might have been, he wasn't good enough as a 2 to win a championship until you added Drew Holiday.
Okay. Yep.
And when I look at how they won that championship, there are instances where I'd say Drew Holiday if not the true number 2, was the second best player on that team in winning the championship.
Disagree.
Which allowed Chris Middleton to be up and down, to give you like a great performance and then be off in another performance because you had that steadying influence. I'd even say that with the Boston Celtics. Like, do you have a true number 2? We're still debating who the number 1 is, right? So I believe that the template for winning a championship has changed, and that it really doesn't come down to having a certain number 1 and a certain number 2. If you look at the championship teams of the last few years, like I go back to Jamal Murray, yeah, offensively can give you bigger performance and has given you bigger performance in recent times than Kyrie has overall, right? But Jamal Murray, people are attacking him defensively all the time, and Kyrie showed outside, even in this series, but particularly outside of this series, he can be a very good defender. He's a much better he's been the best two-way player that I've ever seen him be. So you make a very compelling point. I mean, I actually love it because it does raise that question in terms of where we put Kyrie as a number 2 at this stage. But my answer is yes, you can win with him as the number 2 if the number 1 is better and you find a number 3.
And let me say this real quick. So you touched on it a little bit, Paul, is that Luka was not that great this finals. He was not, right? No. On defense, couldn't stop anybody. No hustle, no effort, none of that. So as much as you want to blame Kyrie for not delivering as the number 2, our number 1 didn't show up either, though. Sure. And he was the weakest link on the court. The other team's game plan, wherever their best player is, who was Luka, we going at him. Like, mentally, that has to strike you a certain way, like,
And they didn't go at Kyrie.
And they didn't go at Kyrie. And another thing is, offensively, you ever watch now this is the whole playoffs. You ever watch the Mavericks, right? And Luka is dribbling the hell out that ball. Yeah. Now, to his right, he can do that because he is that good, right? But you ever see times where Kyrie get a little spark going on, right? And you're like, dang, I want to see more of that. Nope, the ball goes back to Luka. You ever see where, like, man, maybe I should go to Kyrie a little bit more. Maybe give him a couple more possessions. I've been like that. I've seen that. I've been like, why not give Kyrie maybe a couple more possessions to get the ball and get going? Let the offense run through him a little bit. So when you talking about him not, playing as well, I think some of that has to do with the rhythm. A lot of times I watch the Mavericks, I'm like, won't Jason, better yet, Jason Kidd said this. He said, typically in the second half, Kyrie gets going, right? He lets Luka do his thing. He said, but I want Kyrie to start getting going earlier. So when he said that, I'm like, he's right, because I feel the same way. Yeah. There needs to be a time for these 2 ball-dominant players, right? Because Kyrie's learning how to play without the ball, right? He had to with Luka.
Right.
There needs to be some times where Kyrie Irving needs to go 3, 4, 5 possessions of just letting him run, get comfortable, one-on-ones, pick and rolls, the same way they do with Luka. So when you ask him about these questions with Kyrie Irving, some of that to me is, I think, the rhythm and him not having a lot of offensive possessions, because if you look at the way he shoots the ball, he ain't shooting the ball a lot either, though. That's another thing we can talk about. You watch Luka, he's putting that ball up over and over again, where Kyrie's not shooting the ball as much. And in any sport, when you getting more comfortable, more carries, more catches, more passes, you're a better player.
In the rhythm,
The thing, though, for me is, like, Kyrie tried. Let's not get it twisted. Like, Kyrie's not the scorer that Luka is. He's just not. Since Kyrie came into the league after his first year, the lowest points per game he's had is 27.7.
That's the highest.
That's the lowest. He had 33 this year. After his rookie year, Luka Doncic.
Oh, you're talking about Luka, not Kyrie. Kyrie's highest.
Exactly. That's the point I'm making. Kyrie's highest is Luka's lowest. Yeah. Kyrie's ceiling is Luka's floor as it pertains to scoring offensively.
Who's shooting the ball?
Of course, I'm sure.
That matters too, though.
Of course, Luka's shooting more. But if it's you or me and we need to go get a bucket, I want Luka to go get the bucket.
But I'm saying, say that again.
Kyrie's highest points per game in the season is Luka's lowest. Yeah. So, of course, I'm going to
what are we saying Kyrie Irving is right now? A number 2.
Of course.
So why are we even trying to compare him to a number 1? Right. The number 1 days we can say for Kyrie is sure over. A number 2 with what you're saying right now, who wouldn't take that? That's all I'm saying.
And Luka shoots that ball.
No question.
On, man.
Let me. We had this question several shows ago, but I'm wondering what your answer is now, because mine remains the same in terms of the duo of Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum versus Kyrie Irving and Luka Doncic. Take everything else away, right? Just those 2 versus those 2.
I want the math.
I've switched.
Mine hasn't changed.
Well,
I would still go with Luka and Kyrie.
Me too.
Because if you gave me Imagine if you gave me Luka and Kyrie with Derek White, Drew Holiday, Kristaps Porzingis, and Al Horford. Goodness gracious.
But here's how things change, though. Things change because what was beautiful about the Celtics is none of their players were getting beat off the dribble at oftentimes. If you put Luka back on the Celtics, Luka's getting beat off the dribble. So now D. White has to come help.
You got no more defenders, though.
You do.
You can hide him a little bit more.
You do, but still at the point in which the Celtics have spacing. So if you take the Celtics and you play the Celtics with Luka and Kyrie, and Luka gets beat off the dribble, everybody now is one person.
Okay,
everybody's now scrambling.
Okay, but that's defensively. But offensively, if I got Luka and Kyrie with all those floor spacers, and I get to operate in that,
But here's why I would switch my answer is because to Shady's point earlier on, 10 minutes ago, is I'm now valuing defense more, and shame on me for having not in the first place. If you give me JB and you give me JT, you give me two players who will always play with effort, who do not complain to the refs, who are always running, who are uber athletic, who can give you 20 to 30 any game, and who can also D up anybody from the 1 to the 4. So now I actually care about that. Whereas you give me Luka and Kyrie, Luka's a liability defensively, and though Kyrie has played better defensively, Kyrie's not an elite defender. He's just elite for himself.
Come on, he's solid. So this is my thing. When I watch all the games, especially the finals, like, Luka sticks out to me from his effort and defense.
Yes.
You get what I'm saying?
Yes.
So Kyrie, maybe he's not the greatest defender, right? I mean, he ain't getting picked on. But it's like, when I watch Luka, like, it's times when, like, you stick out.
Okay, but you know what? It's difficult to make this case, particularly because I know it's 1-on-3 here. But we have made way, way too much of Luka's defense. It has not been consistent.
No.
But if we talk about what he's capable of, like, there are times where Jaylen Brown, Jason Tatum, they tried to go at him and they couldn't get it done. Now, it wasn't consistent. So to me, Luka has to get in better shape so he can be consistent.
Right.
But I don't think he's this turnstile that we've made him out to be. Like, it's impossible to play good defense with Luka Doncic on the floor because the Dallas Mavericks have done it. They did it getting to the finals, and they did it at times. I agree with the consistency.
What about off the ball? Like, what about times when the freaking rebounds right next to you, you know, no hustling?
I agree, but that is effort and energy.
I think that's fatigue.
Bro, that's bullcrap. I don't care, tired or not. One thing about being an athlete, when you have nothing left, you find a way to get it done. I know we all been there. Like, how the hell did I do that? I know I was dead tired. But out of all the superstars y'all telling me we watch from day in and day out, you telling me when we watch all these dudes, especially in the finals, he sticks out more than anybody.
But that's a mindset, though.
No effort, no attitude, none of that. You fall on the ground, you stay on the ground. They come in, they score, they come back. You just getting up.
But Shady, don't you think that's fatigue, big dog? You've been there. I'm saying I've been in a situation where you see a fumble on the ground, and coach is like, "Hey, Acho, why didn't you get to it?" And I'm sitting here like, "Coach, it's a 12-play drive, G. Like, I was gonna get there,
that's crazy.
But the other dude got there faster than
we
me."
In the final. You know what's crazy? We talking like this, and we in the finals.
Yep.
I agree with you, but
that's crazy. To me, it's all a mindset. Luka has never been good at defense. At times, does he show you, yes, he can stay in front of nobody, but consistently, he has never been good at defense. That is a mindset. When he takes the basketball court, his mindset is not, I'm going to stop the best player like JB and them boys. His mindset ain't, I'm going to give the most effort on defense. His mindset is, I'm going to score the basketball. So that's why you get this switch that he's flipping on and off, because he's not built like that mentally.
Is Steph Curry a great defender? Is Steph Curry a great defender?
He's gotten better. He's gotten better.
Okay, but they still go at him too, right?
Yeah.
But what's one thing he gonna give you, though?
Effort.
He'll give you effort.
Okay, but that wasn't always the case. And I'll bring it up again.
But not only that,
when LeBron James went to the finals in 2007, he was not a good defender. LeBron James became a good defender. He began to care about playing good defense.
But here's the thing I don't think enough people are talking about, though. My thought process is, let's be honest about Luka, as great as he is offensively. Luka's probably the least athletic guard superstar since the turn of the century.
But I'm not having him guard.
But my problem is,
he's
when
6'7", 230.
When you talk about LeBron, when you talk about Bron, Slick, when you talk about Jimmy Butler, when you talk about give me any other guard you want to, these are dudes that got 40-inch verts. These are dudes that are, I don't know, basketball equivalents that would be 4'4", 4'3", 4'5" guys. Like, these are elite windmill dunking kind of dudes. Luka's not a freak athlete.
Let me ask you this.
So of course he's going to get beat off the dribble mindset or not.
Subscribe here to get the latest from Speak, and go watch a few segments from our other shows on FS1.